The Senate will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bridges. Buckner. Coleman. Cook. Coram. Danielson. Donovan. Fenberg. Fields. Gardner. Janot. Gonzalez. Hanson. Heisey. Holbert. Here. Hawkes Lewis. Kirkmeyer. Colker. Lee. Liston. sorry. Lundeen. Moreno.
Excused.
He's running late.
Pedersen. Priola. Rankin. Rodriguez. Scott. Simpson. Smallwood. Sonnenberg. Story.
Excused.
Winter. Winter.
Absent.
I was just going to ask if you knew where Senator Winters was.
No idea.
Here she comes.
There she is. And we got it. Winter.
All again.
Winter. Woodward. Zenzinger. Mr. President.
Here. The morning roll call is with 33 present, 0 absent, 2 excused. We have a quorum. Would the good senator from Centennial please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Members, please join me with the pledge this morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Liston.
Mr. President, there once was a senator from District 10 who had to dispense with a journal and didn't know where to begin. So pay attention, there will be no mention, because I don't want to have to do this again. And with that, Mr. President, I move the reading of the journal of Tuesday, April the 20th be dispensed with, and the journal be approved by the Secretary.
The good senator from Senate District 10 will be fined $1. You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes having the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
April 21st, correctly revised House Bills 1008, 1046, 1057, 1060, 1091, 1129, 1148. Correctly re-revised House Bills 1066, 1107, 1153, 1155, 1156, 1157, 1158, 1165, 1178, 1187, 1218. Correctly enrolled Senate Bills 56, 144, 206, 207, 208, 209, 211, 212, 213, 214, 215, 216, 217, 218, 219, 220, 222, 223, and 228.
Will the clerk please add Senator Moreno to the roll call? Committee reports.
April 20th, Committee on Local Government. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following: House Bill 1084 be referred favorably to Committee on Appropriations. April 20th, Committee on Local Government. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following: House Bill 1009 be forwarded to the committee whole. A favorable recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar. April 20th, Committee on Local Government. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following: House Bill 1095 be amended as follows: so amended be referred to the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. April 20th, Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following: Senate Bill 247 be amended as follows: so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation.
Introduction of bills.
House Bill 1128 by Representative Michelson, Janay, and Senators Hansen and Story concerning the creation of a special license plate for end-of-life care and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Transportation and Energy. Committee reports.
Committee on Transportation and Energy, after consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 200 be amended as follows. So amended, be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation. April 20th, Committee on Transportation and Energy, after consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 161 be postponed indefinitely.
Third reading of bills, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all the bills listed on the consent calendar?
Right, I did that already. Okay, no, I'm good. Yeah. Yeah. House Bill 1148 by Representatives Balkenfield and Michelson, Janay, and Senators Field and Smallwood concerning the distribution of an annual report regarding the Carl State Fair and in connection therewith changing the annual reporting deadline and requiring that the report be submitted to all members of the General Assembly. House Bill 1046 by Representative Arndt and Catlin and Senators Field and Sonnenberg concerning the use of water right obtained through a mutual ditch corporation. House Bill 1008 by Representative Arndt and Catlin and Senators Cook and Hansen concerning increased options for financing forest health projects and in connection therewith financing wildfire mitigation treatments. House Bill 1091 by Representative Daughtry and Lynch and Senators Buckner concerning sentencing parity for juveniles convicted as adults following the transfer of charges with juveniles convicted as adults following the direct filing of charges.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of all the bills on third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bills 1148, 1046, 1008, and 1091.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills listed on third reading of bills consent calendar? Are there any no votes on any of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar? Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request that I be recorded as a no vote on 1008.
Senator Lundin will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1008. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1148 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Rankin, Scott, with a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, House Bill 1046 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Simpson, Cook, Quorum, Scott, Heisey, Kirkmeyer, Rankin, Priola, Woodward. Minority Leader. Smallwood. Please add the President. With a vote of 33 ayes, 1 no vote, 0 absent, and 1 excused, House Bill 1008 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Simpson, the Majority Leader, Danielson, Lee, Liston, Rankin, Hawkes Lewis, Gonzalez, Buckner, Bridges, Janal, Scott, Moreno, Priola, Kirkmeyer, Smallwood. Please add the President. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1091 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Lee, Gonzalez, Moreno, Kolker, Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having voted on the prevailing side, I move to reconsider House Bill 1046.
The motion is for the reconsideration of House Bill 1046. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it and permission is granted. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1046?
House Bill 1046 by Representative Arndt and Catlin and Senators Field and Sonnenberg concerning the use of a water right obtained through a mutual ditch corporation. Go back to thirds and add. Yeah. Tell them to hold on for a sec, yeah. And it is 1046.
Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1046 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is to pass House Bill 1046 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excuse, House Bill 1046 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Lee, Simpson, Woodward, Kirkmeyer, Heisey, Liston, Gardner, Hawkes Lewis, Bridges, Lundeen, Mr. Minority Leader, Scott, Cook, Smallwood, Priola, Quorum. Please add the President. Third reading of bill's final passage. Will the clerk please read the title of House Bill 1164?
House Bill 1164 by Representative Escar and Garnett and Senators Zenzinger and Fenberg concerning reductions in the property tax credits that apply to school districts' total program mill levies for purposes of funding the Public School Finance Act 1994.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1164 lay over until April 26th.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes having the motion is adopted, and House Bill 1164 will lay over until 4/26/21 and retain its place on the calendar. Will the clerk please read the title of House Bill 1060?
House Bill 1060 by Representative Gonzalez, Gutierrez, and Judah and Senators Gonzalez concerning the certification process for the purpose of application for U non-immigrant status.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1060 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is to pass House Bill 1060 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? Senators Cook, Lundeen, Scott, Gardner, the Minority Leader, Simpson, Smallwood, Woodward, Heisey, Liston, Kirkmeyer, Quorum, Rankin, Sonnenberg. With a vote of 20 ayes, 14 no votes, 0 absent, and 1 excuse, House Bill 1060 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Lee, Moreno,
Don't fuck it up this time.
Hawkes Lewis,
Don't fuck it up this time.
Danielson, Winter, will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1057?
House Bill 1057 by Representative Roberts and Tipper and Senators Cook and Rodriguez concerning a prohibition against extortion of immigrants for engaging in lawful acts.
Senator Cook.
Thank you, Mr. President. We move House Bill 21-1057 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the passage of House Bill 1057 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excuse, House Bill 1057 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Kolker, Danielson, Janal, Donovan, Hawkes Lewis, Smallwood, Scott, Priola, Lee, the Minority Leader, Winter, Zenzinger, Quorum, Kirkmeyer, Moreno, Hanson, Simpson, Bridges, Pedersen, Sonnenberg, Buckner, Rankin, the Majority Leader, Heisey, Woodward, Rodriguez, Gonzalez. Please have the President. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1129?
House Bill 1129 by Representatives McClotton and Bradfield and Senators Bridges and Story concerning extension of the deadline by which teachers must complete training in teaching reading.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1129 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any discussion? Senator Lundin.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. When you boil everything down that we do here to its irreducible minimums, and you find the most important things that we possibly could engage in, and I'm thinking specifically of the $13 billion plus per year, all sources in, that we spend in public education, one of the clearly important appropriate roles of state government, and you boil that further down to figure out what exactly are we trying to do. And I would argue the fundamental, first, most important thing that we do in all of that is help make sure that a student can read before they reach the third grade. We've got the READ Act, we've got any number of things that we've focused our energies on to make sure that happens. This bill intrudes into that, and it simply says, look, it's been a pandemic year, it's been tough. If you are one of the half of the teachers out there that should get the training associated with READ Act and haven't yet signed up to do it, we're going to give you an extra year to get to it. I think we're taking our eye off the ball. I think we're missing what we need to be doing, and that is staying focused with the fierce urgency of now on making sure that we're getting the training to make sure we get the educational opportunities in front of those K through 3 students to make sure that they have every hope that we can possibly get them of reading before they get to the third grade. So I oppose the bill, and you've heard the reasons why. It's kind of, I think, a choice between challenge and inconvenience and difficulty of climbing over all of the struggles we have in this time of pandemic, and making sure that we are doing everything we possibly can through the policy environment to make sure we're supporting those students with an opportunity to get at the literacy that they so desperately will need to be successful in their public education. I oppose the bill for those reasons. Thank you, Mr. President, for your attention.
Senator Zenzinger, followed by Senator Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was in the chair yesterday, so I did not have an opportunity to comment on this bill yesterday during second reading, so I just wanted to make a couple of quick points. I do not refute the importance of reading. I also want to point out that these are not uneducated teachers that are charged with teaching our children how to read. These are licensed professionals. They've already undergone 4 years of baccalaureate work. They've already gone through a teaching program, earned their credential, passed all the required tests in order to earn their credential, have gained employment, have been working in the school districts and teaching our children. So it's not as if they are not doing their jobs or that they don't know how to teach reading. We just came along as a legislature a few years later and said, you know what? We think that this is so important, we're going to step it up a little bit, and we're actually going to dictate to educators what kind of training that they need. Now, it's very possible that many of these educators that are now required to do this training already have it. It's very possible that they've already undergone this type of training in their undergraduate program. They would have if they went to Metropolitan State, for example, because they already use this teaching curriculum program. Many of these educators already have the training. They already know how to do this. We just added another mandate that they formally get the training again in a pandemic year, where they have doubled the amount of work, where they are teaching twice as hard, where they're dedicating so many more hours into transitioning their curriculum, learning how to do it online, trying to still make sure that their students progress and that their students achieve. Many of the educators that I know who were already working 50 and 55 hours a week are now working 70 hours a week. They are working through their weekends so that they can prepare their lessons. So it's not as much of a crisis as I think we are making it out to be. Our educators know how to teach reading. We have created a new mandate that they learn how to do it in a new way, or that they add a new set of skills to their repertoire. But it's not as if students are sitting in the classroom not learning how to read. We can do better. We as a body have determined that we can do better. We will do better. But this year was the toughest year that many of our educators have ever faced in their careers. They need more time. They need more time because perhaps their school district didn't offer the training as they were supposed to, because their training was focused on how do they convert their lessons to online. Their training was how are we going to assess our students this year? Their in-service hours were how are we going to address the mental health issues of our students who are feeling disconnected from the school, who are not having those normal interactions with their teachers. So they're doing the work, they're putting in the training, but it is very likely that they did not have an opportunity to get these formal 40 hours of credits because there wasn't time. There are only 24 hours in a day. There are only 7 days in a week. And they need to focus on the task before them, which was getting through a pandemic in the most difficult of years. Now, it is very possible that there may be a few teachers out there who are currently teaching reading that do not have this particular skill set that we have decided is now mandated. It's very possible. And it's very possible that they were on schedule to get that training this year and the pandemic interrupted that. They are going to get it. We have told them that they have to get it. But I think we need to be able to offer our teachers a little bit of grace this year. They need more time. And again, it's not as if they are uneducated. They are licensed professionals that have gone through an educational program. They have passed all the tests. They are licensed teachers. So it's not as if they are bad teachers. We are just asking them to step it up, to learn another set of skills on how to teaching reading, add those skills to their repertoire so that we can do an even better job. So with that, I would ask that we please give our teachers a little bit of grace this year. And believe me, they will get the training, but we need to pass this bill today.
Senator Rankin.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You know, this could be viewed as a repeal of the READ Act that you all voted unanimously for in 2019, because the intent of that was, in fact, to get the teachers motivated and trained. This is not a mandate. You know, a good senator who just spoke is at least as passionate about education as I am. But this is not a mandate. It clearly is an incentive program, and it was clearly designed that way. There's $45 million set aside, not in the School Finance Act, to incentivize teachers, and that's the primary element in all of this, is that the teacher trained in the science of reading is much more qualified to bring a kid along in reading. We know it works. I mean, that's not even a question. When we were looking at the bill, we studied several states. One of those was the state of Mississippi, who had the lowest reading qualifications in the country. Over a 4-year period, the state of Mississippi moved from last in reading to well above average. Now just think about it. Just think about it. If 3 or 4 teachers decide, oh well, we'll wait, we don't need to do this, then how many kids slip by? How many kids? And we know that it makes a significant difference in life opportunity if a kid is taken through the sequence and the steps of the science of reading. And it is science. There are 5 specific pillars. This all emerged fairly recently. You know, we put this into law. By the way, 2012, the 5 pillars of the science of reading were in Colorado law. So we've had plenty of time. That's not the issue. So, you know, the science of reading really builds on the science of how a kid's brain develops. That's why you need to start early. That's why, you know, early before kindergarten matters, but kindergarten to 3rd grade is the time when a kid's brain develops and they learn words. They learn phonics and they learn the syntax and they develop this into a reading skill that will be with them the rest of their life. After 3rd grade, not so easy. We know that from specific studies. This is a nationwide movement. So let's go back. It is not a mandate. Teachers do not have to do this. They do not. There's absolutely no punishment. They do not lose their job. They do not lose their license. There is absolutely no difference in a teacher's job performance or job longevity. What happens is that portion of the $45 million that would have gone to that school or that district is held up to some degree until they're all qualified. It's an incentive program. It is not a mandate. Licensed teachers, sure. We got some great teachers out there. But let me just tell you, since we've done this, 12,800 teachers, that was the last count, licensed professional teachers have signed up for this course because they know they need to get it. We have momentum going around this issue. So why would we're not really removing a mandate or a requirement on teachers. What we're removing is any incentive. We're removing the very thing that you all voted for unanimously in 2019, which was to incentivize, not mandate, the science of reading. I ask for a no vote. Let's put a signal out that we mean what we say.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. And it's been a little difficult to hear the argument today, given how loud that shirt is, Mr. President. But
the good senator
come on,
from Senate District.
Pretty loud shirt. Come on. Do we need a vote? This is
$100. Will be fined $5 based on the membership's polling. Continue.
How much are you going to find the shirt, though, Mr. So we have folks here. Sorry. All right. 10. Let's bring it. Apologies.
Good senator from Senate District 26 will be fined an additional $1.
It's fair. That's fair. Thank you, Mr. President. So what you've had today is some of the people in this chamber who are the strongest education advocates that we have in the building down here disagreeing on this bill. But the reason we're disagreeing is because we are so passionate about making sure that our kids have the best possible education that we can guarantee them as a state. That is what we agree on. We agree on the importance of this training. We agree on the importance of third grade literacy. We agree that our schools aren't doing the job that we need them to do. When only 38% of Colorado third graders are reading on grade level, we have a structural problem that we desperately need to fix, because the long-term impacts of not being on grade level for reading in third grade are devastating to a child's life. We know that. We agree on that. That is something folks on both sides of the aisle, both sides of this bill, all agree on. We have to improve. So here's where the difference comes in. I'm supporting this bill today because a year ago our education system turned on a dime. And as Aurora Superintendent Rico Munn put it, that is both a blessing and a curse, because we have proved in education that we can turn on a dime, that we can make changes, that it doesn't have to be a decades-long slow turning of the ship. We can make changes, we can fix things. But senators, think about how we here in this building feel at the end of a session. Right? We have asked more of teachers and districts and students over this last year than any other 12 months that I think any of us can point to. These folks are burned out. And asking them to take this class when they're burned out means that they're not going to take it in as well as they would if we gave them one more year. And what that means, if we try and make them take it this summer, if they aren't in a place to do it, what that means is that we are disadvantaging generations of students after that. So what we're asking in this bill today is to give teachers who have given so much over this last year, to give them the ability to take this critical course in a time when they can really dig into it, when they can learn the lessons in it and make sure that our kids aren't at 38% third grade reading, but that we are making sure all of our kids are on grade level in third grade. We need this extra year to make sure that our kids are where we need them to be. I ask for an aye vote on this bill.
Having no further discussion, the motion before the body is the passage of House Bill 1129 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? Senators Sonnenberg, Lundin, Gardner, Scott, the Minority Leader, Priola, Smallwood, Woodward, Quorum, Liston, Simpson, Cook, Heisey, Kirkmeyer, Rankin. With 19 aye votes, 15 no votes, 0 absent, and 1 excuse, House Bill 1129 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Kolker, Danielson, Zenzinger, Winter, Janal, Buckner, Gonzalez. General orders, second reading of bills. Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes having the motion is adopted, and the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Kolker will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 61 and Senate Bill 116 to lay over until tomorrow, April 22nd.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 61 and 116 to tomorrow. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 61 and 116 will lay over until the 22nd. Will the clerk please read the bill title to House Bill 1045?
House Bill 1045 by Representative Young and Valdez D. and Senator Fields concerning the Department of Agriculture's authority to control pests.
Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1045 and the committee report.
To the committee report. Senator
Committee
Fields.
The committee report just makes a substitute. It's a technical amendment. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the Agriculture Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the adoption of House Bill 21-1045.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1045? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1045. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Sorry, the ayes have it and the bill is adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Colker.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a bill under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave report has had on consideration the following task bills being the second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1045 as amended, passed on second reading, and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 61 and 116 laid over until April 22nd, retaining their place on the calendar.
Senator Colker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption of the report.
The motion is for the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? Senators Sonnenberg, Kirkmeyer, Woodward. With 31 ayes, 3 no votes, 0 absent, 1 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. House Bill 1045 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered, revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage, and Senate Bill 061 and Senate Bill 116 laid over until 4/22/21, retaining their place on the calendar. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 16 lay over until May 4th.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. And Senate Joint Resolution 016 will lay over until May 4th, 21, and retain its place on the calendar. Consideration of House amendments. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 221?
Senate Bill 221 by Senators Hansen and Rankin and Representative McCluskey concerning projects under the Forest Restoration and Wildlife Risk Mitigation Grant Program.
Senator Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate concur with the House amendments.
Will the good senator tell this body why we should concur with House amendments on Senate Bill 221?
Well, Mr. President, after very thoughtful and insightful examination of the bill, considering the importance of a few words, the House inserted about 5 words into the bill that have significant import.
Is there further discussion? Senator Hansen. Seeing no further discussion, the motion is that the Senate concur with House amendments on Senate Bill 221. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, that motion is adopted. Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 221.
The motion is for the repassage of Senate Bill 221. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 221 is repassed. Co-sponsors. Senators Cook, Hawkins Lewis, Kirkmeyer, Simpson, Gardner, Heisey, Smallwood, Lundeen, Coram, Priola, Woodward. Please add the president. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 067?
Senate Bill 67 by Senators Corman, Hanson, and Representative McClutchin and Carver concerning measures to strengthen civics education in Colorado.
Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 67.
Will the good senator from Denver please tell us why we should concur with House amendments on Senate Bill 067?
Thank you, Mr. President. The House, in its infinite wisdom, decided to add the words constitutional republic to the legislative declaration. So I say, way to go, House. Let's concur.
The motion is that the Senate concur with House amendments on Senate Bill 067. Are there any no votes?
That was for you.
Seeing no, are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, that motion is adopted. Senator Coram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the repassage of Senate Bill 67.
The motion is for the repassage of Senate Bill 067. Are there any no votes? Senators Zenzinger, Gardner, Lundeen, Liston, Woodward, Rankin, Kolker, Sonnenberg. Will the clerk please read the title? With a vote of...
There you go.
With a vote of 26 ayes, 8 no votes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Senate Bill 067 is repassed. Co-sponsors.
After I voted no, yeah.
Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 067? Excuse me. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 135?
Senate Bill 135 by Senators Janal and Zenzinger and Representative Duran and Froelich concerning a prohibition on the use of certain animals in the Traveling Animal Act.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate reject the House amendments to Senate Bill 135 and that a conference committee be appointed.
Would the good senator from Jefferson County please tell us why a conference committee why we should reject House amendments on Senate Bill 135 and that a conference committee be appointed?
Because per usual, the House got it wrong, and we have to fix it.
Is there any discussion? Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, if the House got it wrong by including rodeo and county fairs, that's something I want to hear about because it's, I think that's an important addition that we add to the bill to make it clear. So right now, until I hear an explanation, I would urge to vote no on create a conference committee and then go ahead and adopt the House version. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. We would agree that it is very important that this bill does not apply to rodeos, which it doesn't currently, but the definition that they adopted is problematic because a circus could just rename themselves a rodeo and be excluded from the prohibition. So we want to make sure that the definition that we adopt doesn't allow that to happen. The bill as it was written already excluded rodeos, but we just want to make sure that when we clarify this in a intentional way, that we don't create any unintentional consequences by giving circuses a free pass by just renaming themselves a rodeo. We do intend to continue to exclude rodeos. This bill was never meant for rodeos, and we're going to make sure that that happens in conference committee, but in a way that does not create unintended consequences.
Senator Sonnenberg.
Is there only a two? Can I only speak twice? All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Since I can only speak twice to this motion, I am trying to understand the bill sponsor's argument that it's in the definition, and I am not seeing it in the bill where it is part of the definition. I do see an additional statement that doesn't have anything to do with fairs and rodeos on page 4, lines 9, but when it comes right down to it where they add rodeos and fairs, I am not seeing that as a definition. I am seeing that on page 5 where they talk about for the sole purpose, this is where the Senate added the exemption for film, which honestly was a question that we had in the Senate a while back. Why is it okay to have these animals in a film but not at other venues? And then we also add, after the film, which isn't a definition, it's an exclusion. And the exclusion then in F, right after the film one that we put on in the Senate, at a rodeo or county fair. That's not part of the definition. If there's something else going on here, I'm not seeing it. There was obviously enough concern, and we had that concern when the bill was in the Senate. Does it actually exclude county fairs? Does it actually exclude rodeos? And we tried to make those amendments on the assertion that they were already covered. But Everybody outside of this building still has those concerns. So they added that language in the House. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to leave that language in there. If there's something else going on, then I need to know about it. We need to know about it. But for right now, I'm urging you a no vote on the conference committee and that we accept the House amendments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there further discussion?
Okay, thanks.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is that the Senate not concur with House amendments on Senate Bill 135 and that a conference committee be appointed. Are there any no votes? Senators Scott, the Minority Leader, Gardner, Woodward, Kirkmeyer, Simpson, Cook, Liston, Heisey, Rankin, Priola, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Lundin. With a vote of 20 ayes, 14 no votes, 0 absent, 1 excuse, that motion is adopted. The following senators are appointed on the first conference committee on Senate Bill 135. Senator Zenzinger, Chair. Senators Janal and Sonnenberg. Message from the governor.
Tuesday, April 20th, Colorado Senate. Honorable members of the Colorado Senate, pursuant to authority vested in the office of the Governor of the State of Colorado, I have the honor to inform you that I have approved and filed with the Secretary of State the following acts. Senate Bill 4, jurisdiction over Pueblo Chemical Depot, approved on Tuesday, April 20th at 2:12 p.m.
The Senate will stand in a brief recess. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, having voted on the prevailing side, I move for the immediate reconsideration of Senate Bill 67.
The motion is for the reconsideration of Senate Bill 067. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is granted. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 67?
Senate Bill 67 by Senators Corman, Hansen, and Representative McClatchy and Carver concerning measures to strengthen civics education in Colorado.
Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remove the passage of Senate Bill 67. I move the passage of Senate Bill 67.
The motion is for the repassage of 067. Are there any no votes? No votes on Senate Bill 067. Senators Liston, Lundin, Zenzinger, Holker, the Minority Leader, Woodward, Smallwood, Kirkmeyer, Heisey, Rankin. Gardner. No votes on 067. With 23 aye votes, 11 no votes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 067 is repassed. Co-sponsors. Announcements. Senator Gonzalez.
Gracias, Presidente. To the Senate State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee, we will be having a rare Thursday meeting tomorrow upon adjournment. We will be hearing 3 bills which were laid over from yesterday's calendar. We will be hearing Senate Bill 199, House Bill 1051, and House Bill 1011. I will see y'all at the Supreme Court, the old Supreme Court, not the new one, upon adjournment tomorrow. I'll also make this announcement mañana.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I need to ask to be excused tomorrow afternoon after 11 a.m. I will arrive in the morning, but I have a afternoon doctor's appointment. I will speak with the majority and minority leader as well as the president.
The good senator from Adams County will be excused for tomorrow. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Judiciary Committee will be meeting on adjournment, so I'll say 10:15 for bills 1108 and 1188. Thank you.
Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to let everybody know that April 24th is National Take Back Day. That's when you take back all your old prescriptions, your expired, your ones you didn't use. Colorado has lots of options for you. Just Google it online. They'll help you find a location near you. However, don't get lazy and put them in the trash. And for sure, don't flush them down the toilet and get them in the water system. But you do need to properly dispose of them, those expired and unused meds, before they fall in the wrong hands, whether it's a niece, a nephew, grandkids, whoever might be visiting your house. Thank you.
Senator Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. After consultation with the minority and majority leaders, I request to be excused this Friday, the 23rd.
The good senator from Alamosa will be marked excused for Friday. Senator Fields.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues. I just want to remind folks that we do have a Senate Health and Human Services Committee today at 1:30. We only have one bill up. And then, Mr. President, I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I just want to explain and share with you how emotionally exhausted I have been over watching and observing the George Floyd hearing and trial. Emotionally, it has been exhausting for me. I've been extremely anxious because far too often the outcome has never produced the verdict that we saw yesterday, which was guilty on all 3 counts. So I'm just letting you all know that I'm not celebrating it at all, because I'm thinking about historically all the others who have lost their lives in the hands of police, where the verdict, in my view, was not justified. I think about Sandra Bland. I think about Eric Gardner and so many others. When I think about this officer who was not in his right mind, no one in their right mind would kneel on another person's neck for over 9 minutes. But I'm thankful for that 17-year-old girl who had the bravery and the audacity to film what she saw. You might not know the story, but she was taking her little nephew, who was 9 years old, who witnessed it as well, to the store. So she not only had the custody of her smartphone, she also had the custody of a minor. And she filmed it. And because of that film, as the prosecution said, you can believe your eyes. Believe your eyes. Because she had the audacity to film. But it wasn't just her. When I talk about how anxious I was, it was like hearing all of the other standbyers who was confronting the police. He's not moving. There's blood coming from his nose. Stop it. It was standbyers, not just that 17-year-old girl. There was other people that were there observing it and said, this is just not acceptable. That's our role as citizens. That's our role as it deals with the social contract, as it relates to being an American or just part of the human race. It was the standbyers, not just the 17-year-old, but there was other people there. And if you saw the trial, many of them felt guilty that they didn't do enough. Grown men crying, the 17-year-old feeling guilty. They all felt like they didn't do enough. But they did, because they captured it on film. But they have to live with that memory for the rest of their lives. Every single one of them that witnessed it, like we witnessed it. But what was different? Not only the standbyers, but you had the police chief say that this is not policing and this is not the way we train. We had law enforcement, for the first time that I've ever seen in my lifetime, claim that that was wrong. So I also want to thank this body, the Senate chamber. We might not have been there when George Floyd was murdered, but we responded to the protests. When we saw people of all nationalities and races simulating, laying on the ground. At that time, we thought it was 8 minutes and something. Now we know that it's 9 minutes. We responded. We did not let those concerns go unaddressed. So I want you to know that it's still hard for me to breathe because we still have work to do. But I want to thank all of you for the role that you've played in addressing policing in the state of Colorado. Thank you, Mr. President.
Having no further announcements. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Education Committee will meet upon adjournment today. We will be hearing House Bill 1112. We will not be hearing House Bill 1067. And we will also be receiving a presentation from the Colorado Department of Education on COVID-related learning loss and funding. So if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about what the department plans on doing, this would be a great presentation and the public is definitely welcome to attend. Thank you.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Judiciary will meet 15 minutes after adjournment. Thank you.
Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Agricultural and Natural Resources will meet 15 minutes upon adjournment.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I think we may have one or two bills coming over that we're going to try to read across today. You do not need to be here on the floor for the remainder of the day. Mr. President, I move that the Senate recess until 11 a.m. today.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will stand in recess until 1100 hours today.